I'm going to share screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thanks everybody for coming on the call. So this is, I suppose it's a bit of outreach, and it's a bit of an initial promotion of some of the stuff that we've been working on in the Ireland's Greenest Town initiative. What we're looking at today is the idea of the circular economy, and a lot of you on the call will be on the call because you're in some way related to it, and that can be through any number of ways, from sort of recycling, reuse, renting out of materials. Essentially the idea of not throwing away waste, but using things more sustainably, and that's the way we need to go in the future. So we've put together a presentation. It'll take hopefully no more than, we'd say, 15 minutes. The idea being to show where we are now, where we can go, the types of supports that can be in place, and we'll also leave some time over for a Q&A at the end. On the call is obviously Mags, who will have sent out the invites to everybody from the Chamber. Also from the Greentown Initiative, Mark Duffy is on the call. He's been a huge support and a driving force actually of the initiative the whole way through. So, and we have Susan Heffernan as well from the Mary Robinson Centre, who's also supporting the overall initiative. I'll bang ahead there, Mags, unless you have anything else to add.
No, just delighted to see so many people and faces that we haven't seen in a long time. And unbeknownst to us all, especially you guys, you're a part of the circular economy in Ballina already. And that's why I suppose the idea was to bring this all together under a collective, collaborative brand, as it were, which Kevin will elaborate on. So thank you for giving us the time this evening. We want to make it as worthwhile for you as possible. So we'll crack on, Kevin.
Great.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mags. So yeah, as I mentioned, this is part of the wider Greentown initiative. Myself and Mark would have held a presentation last December, which launched this overall program, and the ambition is to make Ballina-Ireland's greenest town. So that seems like quite a high ambition, but actually it's the way everything is going in the future. Everything is about becoming more sustainable, more energy efficient, and actually better in terms of living quality. So this is something we feel we can lead out in if we get the community support behind us. As I mentioned before, we have a few groups that are sort of supporting it from the front. We also have a lot of groups that are supporting it in other ways, but the Mary Robinson Centre is a driver behind it. We have the Greentown Initiative, which is myself and Mark, and the Chamber of Commerce. So where are we now in terms of an overall plan? There's 5 key areas that we're looking at. The first one being energy, looking at how the town could become more energy efficient, towards energy independence, actually. I'm also glad to see David Dwan on the call, who's been through the credit union promoting different types of mechanisms to actually help people access finance to retrofit homes and that type of sort of sustainable initiative. We've mobility. We have the idea of promoting walking and cycling. The overall goal here is to become a 10-minute town, and that's something that can be done through smart planning, but also promoting people to walk, cycle, and giving them the infrastructure for that. Ecology, we have the ambition of literally becoming Ireland's greenest town, and that's to do with bringing green space, biodiversity back into the town, blending it with the urban space that we have, and allowing nature into where we live. Economy, which is the main focus of the talk today, we're looking at circularity. So how we can actually get rid of the linear economy that we have now, and as much as possible integrate circular principles into Ballina. And we have people, so becoming people-centric, becoming an inclusive town, putting people first, actually. So all of this is actually best practice, and that's what we're trying to bring about. We're trying to push Ballina to a point of being an exemplar in the green transition. And as I mentioned today, the reason we're all on the call is to look at the economy that we have in Ballina and actually how we can promote circularity. So what is our current model? Basically, what we have is the linear economy, and that starts with making either a product or even services. It's to do with using that and then disposing of it. So the way it works now is we have a very energy intensive forms of production that end up in landfill very often, and that's everything from food waste through to building waste. So across all scales and even across short periods of time and longer periods of time. The result of that, in the context of Ireland, like we produce more plastic per person than anywhere else in the EU. We're set to exceed pre-pandemic emissions as the economy starts to pick up again. So even before, we'd say, our emissions dropped during the pandemic, but we're actually going to exceed the emissions prior to that. So the economy has ramped up again, and we can see that this is incredibly energy intensive. And all of this links to climate change and biodiversity loss and damage to our environment. And we've seen that over the past year that actually there's a lot more frequency of these type of events, and all of this is linked. So need to start looking at the way we're doing things and trying to see if there's more efficient, more sustainable ways that we could be doing things instead. And there is another way. What we're looking at is circularity and the circular economy. This is a way to respond to a lot of these issues. There are three main principles in the circular economy. One is reusing materials and products. Two is designing out waste. And three is to regenerate natural systems. But for today's talk, we'll just focus on the reuse of materials and products and designing out waste. So in terms of reusing materials and products, and this sort of sparked the idea to have this promotional event today. We went through the town and actually very quickly started to see there's a huge amount of businesses that are actually part of the circular economy, either totally through their business or partially through their business. And that got us thinking that actually, rather than reinventing the wheel and trying to start a whole new sort of drive towards circularity, the first thing we could do is actually promote what's already there. So let's reach out to the businesses that are part of the circular economy and give them the space and the promotion to actually continue what you're doing, and hopefully to increase that. So if we build a campaign and brand around the circular economy, it will become recognized and popular. And that's what we're trying to start off here today. So rather than the linear economy, we're looking at making, using, and returning to close that loop, to create it into a larger framework and to design out all of the waste and energy use that exists currently. We're doing this in the context of Ballina, and what we're talking about really is supporting Ballina's circular economy. So we've thought of lots of different ways of how we could do this. Building a recognizable logo will help people understand which businesses are on board. And we imagine that in the shop fronts through the town, and of course this is Ballina, but also wider into North Mayo, to have a sort of a sticker brand that people can recognize which businesses are part of the circular economy. Also to have an online presence. So at irelandsgreenesttown.com, we will have a page where you can click on the circular economy. If you're looking for clothes, for example, you will have a section that says, these are all of the different clothes providers in the town that are part of the circular economy. You can highlight either second-hand clothes or clothes repair or even clothes rental. So this will all be an easily accessible directory to allow people to shop more sustainably. Also, it will allow us a place to put promotions up so that you can see where different businesses in the town that are circular are providing different deals. So this will be a way to engage the public and to communicate the value that we're bringing to the table. The second part of the initiative is to look at how we can actually start to design out waste. So this will come later, but we're already looking at different groups, different initiatives that we could link to that will actually help us and support us in doing this. And I think, Mags, you can talk to some of the initiatives that we're already linking to and how we can integrate these.
So if this is something that you are interested in, these are the kind of initiatives that we are wanting to push forward once we have our brand Ballina Circular Economy in place, that and you pledge to or agree to be a part of that. These are some of the supports and initiatives that we've already outlined, and we're looking with some we're looking at working with some well-known recognizable bodies already out there. So the first initiative is the Green for Micro, and it's working with the local enterprise office here in Mayo. And what is this Green for Micro program? Well, it's a new initiative from the local enterprise office. It is here to help prepare small businesses for the low carbon, more resource efficient economy of the future. It's a free program, which is what we like to hear, and it's available to companies with up to 10 employees. And what do? They help develop a greener policy, which can offer many benefits to your business. Some being, and this is really what we all look for, increased cost savings. And that's what every business wants to do, reduce their cost output. Improve resource efficiency, which is what Kevin was talking about there. For example, using less energy, water and materials. So again, your business is a lot more cost effective. And to support that then on the plus side of that, you're helping reduce environmental footprint and greenhouse gas emissions. So even if that wasn't your primary objective, it is the objective of increasing your cost savings. And how do we do that? Well, we're already going to look at organising a workshop with the local enterprise office. They're going to delve a little bit deeper into this initiative and discuss this with you. And from that then, you will be able to participate in a 2-day mentoring session with a specialist green consultant who will come into your business, do a cost analysis and an audit of your business, and they'll be able to look at your businesses and what way you can implement change. The consultant will prepare a detailed Green for Micro report for your business and fundamentally look at how to reduce your cost. So that is one initiative. We're also working with Irish Water, and we are proposing that Ballina become and take part in the new Sustainable Water Towns Initiative, a pilot that was run in Westport a couple of months back, and we believe it would certainly fit ideally here in Ballina as well. In partnership with Irish Water, we will be supporting our local businesses with water conservation training, and we would kick it off with a water conservation for business masterclass. A lot more to do with that, and again, we'll touch base with you further on once we see, if there's a good uptake on that. But all these initiatives, it comes down to whatever business wants. You want to be able to be more sustainable in your business and look to the future, but also have increased cost savings. But these, again, we'll come back to you with these in the future.
That's great.
Thanks Kevin.
Yeah, and I suppose these are two that we're looking at the moment, but we know that with the urgencies that exist, there will be others down the line. And by having a network of businesses together, we can actually reach out to you very easily with new initiatives, and we can all link together to make sure that we're working together as a network. Also, there has been previous government grants towards supporting the circular economy. This grant unfortunately ran out a few months ago, but we understand that there will be further grants down the line. So actually, as a group, if we can come together and if we can put initiatives on the table, other ideas, other programs that link to the circular economy, there will be funding down the line. And we want to be able to access that to be in the best position to avail of that funding. So as a group, the whole idea would be also to try and bring forward ideas ourselves. Mm-hmm. Some examples just to get the creative juices flowing. Could we, for example, go without disposable plastics? Is that something in the town, or at least within the circular economy group, that we could say this is a priority for us, and what would we need to do in order to achieve that?
And we're actually looking at that, Kevin, for our festivals. You know that we're a town of festivals. So, you know, our pilot, our biggie in the summer would be our big salmon festival. So on a Heritage Day, there would be a plastic ban, or any other festivals going forward, or food fla, that there wouldn't be, plastic would not be encouraged, that any vendor that comes into the town would have to use recyclable product and just no longer go with the plastic option. And that is something we can dictate to right now, right here, going forward, and then take that further into our businesses.
Yeah, and the thing is, if we can do it for an event like a festival, there's no reason why we cannot do it on a daily basis. These are things that we could, as a group together, bring forward. Another example would be looking at food waste within the town. Can we turn organic waste into compost, for example? There's a huge amount of restaurants, bars, cafes in town. And if we all got together as a collective and agreed to do this, there's no reason why we cannot. There's lots of supports out there. And again, going back to that grant funding, if we put ideas on the table and we show that we're willing to follow them through, the funding will be made available. And this will really turn us into a destination for the circular economy.
And we know, Kevin, that there are people out there very much who are now so much more conscious of holidaying, that they will search out these destinations who are being much more conscious about the way they run their town, how communities are coming together. And it's not to be mercenary about it, but we can capitalize on this and mobilize ourselves to appeal to these groups, but also doing it for the right reasons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I show an image here of the Rediscovery Centre, which is the national centre for the circular economy in Ireland. The reason I show it is because we have examples of best practice within Ireland. So this is a sort of fabulous centre that shows how you can take material that would normally go to waste and to rejuvenate it, bring it back into use, and keep it going within the economy. And the Rediscovery Centre is aware of the work that we're doing and what we're trying to promote, and they're very supportive of that. So we'll try to link as much as possible to the Rediscovery Centre in the future as we're bringing forward our initiatives as well. So Ballina's Circular Economy Initiative. This is a bit of a summary of what we're trying to do and what we would like you to do, ideally, if you become a member. So we want to promote businesses and organizations that are part of the circular economy. We encourage members to participate in other circular initiatives. The more you participate, the more we can promote. So that's really the idea of building a capacity around what we're doing and showing that we want to be exemplars in this space. 3, we ask members to support each other with knowledge and idea sharing, so that if a new initiative comes in through the group, that everybody knows about it and we can all learn from each other and build out the capacity of this initiative. In terms of the next steps, where we want to go to from today, after this, we'll contact you with a follow-up email. We'll ask you to confirm whether you'd like to join the initiative, ideally by this Friday. But if it happens later on, that's great as well, of course. We'll link you into the Ballina Circular Economy info mailing list, and that's just a way for us to create a sort of communication link where people can share ideas, but also if there are things like the Green for Micro, we can share those initiatives through the mailing list. And we'll promote Ballina Circular Economy Initiative through media and through the online. So we want to make people aware of the circularity that's already happening in Ballina. And if they want to shop sustainably, these are the businesses that you can go to do that. And you'll support local businesses while being sustainable in your choices. So that's really the overall ambition of what we're trying to do here. And like I mentioned before, if we can start small by just promoting what we're doing, but then build on that and actually bring in new ideas and new programs as they become available, we could become a real destination within Ireland that's seen to be circular, that's seen to be leading the way in this. If you're a tourist that wants to support sustainable tourism, this is the destination for you. So that's the presentation. I think what we'll do now is just open it up for any questions or comments. Of course, we're aware of people's time, and this is an evening, so if anybody wants to bail off, that's also totally fine. But I think the best thing to do is open the floor.
Just maybe Mark and Susan would like to just say one or two words there, seeing as we're all collaboratively working together.
Thanks, Megs. Just very briefly, congrats on the presentation, Kevin and yourself. Brilliantly articulated, and it's very exciting if we can get as many businesses and people in just the Ballina public in the whole area to get behind it. And just briefly, just want to welcome Natasja Frankuziak from Moyne College, who's a CSP student, and just last week got in touch in relation to what students in their class can do to help promote reduction in food waste in Ballina, to promote a circular economy. So this is already happening at a grassroots level across both our community and communities across the whole country. And there's an expectation from, I would say, younger generations and all across the board for more to be done. So if we can help to provide the leadership here in Ballina, I think it can become, we have the opportunity to be ahead of the wave and become a place for best practice. So the more that we actually work together and get behind it together, the better it can be, and the more opportunity there is for the town to become a leader in the space. So just congrats on the presentation, and looking forward to working with everyone to getting behind it.
I'll come in now and say thanks everybody firstly for coming on the call this evening. It's brilliant to have so many people here. And I think when we started talking about this circular economy and how Ballina works really well as a circular economy, we all recognize the same thing, that it's actually happening here already. And the key is that we're not trying to do something new. We're not bringing something new to town, but we're actually looking at what we have in Ballina and finding ways to make it more effective for yourselves, for our community, and for ourselves in the future as well. And I think that that's really the important takeout from this, that it's nothing new, but it's just about connecting what we have closer together and making it more effective and having a greater impact. And I think as things move forward, this is a really important initiative for Ballina. And it's about putting our energy into what we already have rather than trying to do something new. And that to me is the vital piece in it, that we're renewing and refreshing what exists in Ballina. And I think that that's a really important takeout. And I'm really excited to be part of this, and I'm really looking forward to working with everybody as we go ahead. I just think it's got fabulous potential, and I'm really excited to see what comes from this in the future.
Well, I had to say, when I was ringing up some of the people who are on this call today, they were telling us what they're doing, and it was an eye opener. It gives you, you're not thinking, are we crazy? We're actually, people are doing this, and they can tell, everybody can share their ideas, and that's what we want, is that everybody gets to have an input, and it can only get bigger and bolder and better for the town and for our businesses as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, you know, there is so much happening in this space, and globally, it's a really good focus. And it's a great chance for us to kind of stand up and say, well, actually, we know how to do this. We've been doing this all along, and we can help other people. We can lead the way in helping other communities to learn from us. And that's a great chance for Ballina to stand up and to be counted and to be seen as a leader in this field.
I think it's a great idea, and I think we've been St Vincent de Paul for so long, for the last 8 years, and seen what stuff comes in there and what stuff people try and, let's just say, dispose of. We've started to look at it in a totally different way, and we question people with stuff, and we get it right. We sort out all the good stuff and stuff like that, and yeah, we're very, very conscious of this, and we are going forward doing it as well. It's all about, you know, recycling and upcycling and stuff like that, you know. And it's it works. At first it sounded a bit, oh, just throw it in the bin material, but not now. No, it's all, you've got to look out the box and think, like, say, how can I change that? How can I make that something nice? And you know, that's the way we are going forward with stuff, you know, whether it's food waste or whether it's like with furniture or clothing, recycling clothing and stuff like that. Yeah, everything gets recycled. We're trying to get very little as we can into landfill, but you're always going to get people there that's going to give you their landfill, you know. So, but it's a great idea, and I'm sure St Vincent de Paul will get well on board with it. Yeah,
and you're already leading light, Alfie Cowan. So you are leading light.
I know, because I regenerate furniture. I've been collecting. I'm a cabinet maker and a carpenter, and I've been how can I put it? I've been saving furniture for years from landfill, and I've been keeping them in my workshop for the last 15 years. And now I'm semi-retired. I've started to upcycle it in quirky ways.
Yeah.
And people may buy it for their Airbnbs or whatever, you know, but at least it's not going to be burnt for firewood and stuff like that, you know.
Well, I would have commented that the Rediscovery Centre looked quite similar to your workshop or your unit up in town. In fact, I think yours is actually nicer, the products you have. Tell everybody where your unit is, where you use your
Garden Street,
products.
across from Shaw's. That's the best landmark to say. It's across from Shaw's, and it's not a business as such. It's a hobby, and it's an appointment only thing because I'm in St Vincent de Paul 6 days a week, sort of thing. So, but I will call over if I want to meet somebody and show them what I do and stuff like that. And I get people coming to me now that have old furniture that want upcycling. And I do that, I bring it up to my workshop and I upcycle it and stuff like that. So yeah, and we're just trying to keep everything we can from getting disposed. You know, that's the best way of putting it, you know. And the funny thing is, see, when people start getting into it, they're going to enjoy it because it's a great pastime. It's a great thing to reinvent a piece of furniture and turn it into something nice, you know. So yeah, so thanks for that, Mags.
Thank you, Alfie. We applaud you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right, we'll keep going with that. And I'm telling you now, like say, Anne Kane put me out, asked me to do the Zoom meeting tonight and stuff like that, you know. And I think if you get the logos up and running, we'll because most of what you've said, we do food, we do furniture, we do clothing, we do we do everything from a teaspoon to an anchor, and we can turn it round. And there's a team of 6 of us in St Vincent de Paul, and we're always looking at ways of upcycling stuff and making it more pleasable to the public. And they come in and they'll buy it, even if you just put something stupid on it and make it quirky. they'll come in and buy it. So that it's not going to anywhere else. It's getting back into the community, and somebody will get some joy out of it. Then maybe later on in life, it'll get changed again. The way, like say, everybody should start thinking, you know.
Yeah.
So that's me. So, anybody else want to comment?
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm on
Any
Garden
other-
Street. I'm not promoting myself, by the way. I'm not trying to promote myself, you know.
You're well entitled, Alfie.
You'll be
That's
getting
what it's
loads of
all
phone
about.
calls tomorrow, Alfie.
Oh, I don't mind the phone calls. I
Yeah,
like,
but we had said we might get you to do a couple of workshops for people who might have product at home and they would like to do that sort of
definitely.
thing.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think
yeah.
You know, there's people, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So, you know,
Yeah.
even if you have something at home and you'd like to, how do I refurb a nice old kitchen
Yeah,
unit or an
yeah.
old kitchen dresser, that you'd be able to tell us how to do that. So, but these are
Yeah.
things that we are looking at doing down the
Yeah.
road.
Like a bit of French polishing and stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know,
We're
just
just-
showing them wee tricks
Yeah.
All
so
of
they
those
can take
skills.
that stain
Yeah.
off the table. You know,
All of those skills are invaluable, and I think it's a lot of what we used to know,
Yeah.
the way we used to do things. So
Yeah.
it's not that this is we're not reinventing the wheel. It's actually looking back
It's-
to the
yeah,
way
it's
we
there.
used to reuse
Yeah.
stuff, and bringing those skills back is it's something we'll have to look at into the future. So keeping that knowledge alive is incredibly important.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just think it's a great benefit, because I think it's a shame when you have to get a piece of furniture and be, like I like in Sylvester Park go, we'll not throw that, don't break it up. I'll repair it, we'll fix it, we'll do something with it. You know, maybe I can do it because of my skills and my training and it, but at the end of the day, it stops it going elsewhere. You know, it's not firewood, it's not nothing, you know, it becomes a piece of nice furniture. I mean, you might have to spend a bit of time on it, and sometimes what I do, the costs makes it high end, but at least it becomes a lovely piece of furniture. You know, and somebody will be proud to have it in their house, hopefully. Like my wife with me.
Your long-suffering wife.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. Any other comments or questions?
Megs, just Brendan here, just to thank yourself and Kevin for the presentation. I have to leave shortly, but just to pick up maybe on something that Kevin mentioned there earlier on, there is quite a bit of recycling done already by a lot of the residents in Ballina, and I think it's important that people understand, I suppose, that placing their food in their brown bin does actually end up in a compost facility in Galway. So it's very much the first step towards reducing the waste and taking product out of their black bin. It's very hard to use colors because different recycling companies have different colors for bins, and there's even a drive along national levels to try and get uniformity in colors of bins, so take away some of the confusion. But there is quite a lot more that can be done to reduce the waste, and I think, you know, it's down to individuals. We've lived in a convenience world for the last 30 years, and I think there's an element of inconvenience required to get the most out of the circular economy, and we have to start at national school level with promotional literature to show people exactly what can be done. And I think it's a cultural change, and it's a slow burn, but 2 generations from now we'll be commented on as to what we did, I think. So it's a long game we have to play rather than a short one.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, carry on.
Maybe just to quickly, I suppose it is a long game, but there are urgencies there as well. So as much as we can do as quickly as we can, the better, of course. And it's not that we're going to solve everything overnight, and it will be a generational change probably before we see the changes that need to come into place. But there's no reason why we cannot start already. And it's great to hear what you're talking about there, Brendan. I think there's a lot of stuff there that we need to acknowledge. There is things happening. That's probably the first step, and that's what today's call is about, acknowledging the businesses that are already in town doing this. And from that, learning from each other and using that to take the next steps to become more circular and more sustainable.
Yeah. And just to know that there's supports out there. There's a plethora of financial supports out there. And that's where I suppose we come in, that we will set these initiatives up for the businesses, let the businesses know about them, to avail of them, come on board. It will only take time, as you were saying, Alfie, about recycling that beautiful piece of furniture. It will be the time, but it'll get the value of cost saving and knowing that your business is being sustained going forward.
Right, yeah. And it's a case of actually the young generation have to be a generation now that's not a throwaway generation.
Yeah.
You know, like say we've been a generation, and I'm guilty of it for years. You know, you buy McDonald's and you just throw the paper and the rubbish bin and stuff like that, and you know, they've got to be educated before they get any further on. You know, and that's another thing, going to colleges and sorting that out.
Yeah.
Just try to educate them, because don't get me wrong, my kids and that, they're all very savvy about things these days, you know, climate change and everything. So they're kind of picking up, but I think it's still something that has to be really pushed into the younger generation as well. You know, even like say recycling and stuff like that. Don't let them throw their old toys away and stuff like that, or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
You can do something with it. Even like Margaret, my colleague, was supposed to be on today.
Oh, she's there.
Yeah.
She's
I'm
there.
Was she there?
Maggie.
I'm listening to you.
She recycles soccer jumpers and JA jumpers and stuff like that, and turns into my hats. So it's not going anywhere else. It's just it's not going anywhere. It's not getting thrown away. So
the Anne-Marie has her hand up there.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say well done on the presentation, Kevin. It's great to see this initiative getting off the ground. I'd be happy to help promote it, I suppose, to the various tourism and hospitality businesses out there if it were of help and of interest. And also to add, I just really like the idea of the workshops and the people learning how to repair their clothes, repair furniture, upcycle furniture and things like that, and kind of that revival of the old skills and crafts that we used to have. I think that's really compelling and really, really, really appealing to people as well. So hopefully there'll be initiatives like that. But well done, and whatever we can do to support from Mayo North, we certainly will.
That's great, Anne-Marie. Thanks for that. I think the more support we can get and the more networking and everything that we can link together, the more successful it can be. I suppose on that idea of old skills as well, I was in Ballycastle during the weekend and I saw that there's I think it's the Killala wool. Woolcraft, exactly. So they're setting up classes. They're showing all the old skills. They've actually got a loom that they're going to refurbish and bring back into use. So we can see that there is an appetite for this. And in terms of tourism, looking at that the potential of the making as nearly an event in
activity.
Yeah,
exactly. Absolutely,
so
Kevin.
There's a huge potential there. Yeah, brilliant.
Very
Thanks, Anne-Marie.
so.
Well, it's 20 to 8. I think we've gone over by 10 minutes, but I think we had a very good educational discussion there and sharing of information. If nobody else has anything else to say, I will be in touch with you sometime tomorrow. I will just follow up with an email, and anybody who couldn't make it to this evening as well, I'll be sending off this recording to anybody who couldn't be with us this evening as well. And we'll just be pressing everybody out there who may have any more questions about the circular economy, about Ballina's circular economy, and encourage everybody, all the businesses out there, to come on board and make the pledge to be a part of this community, because I know it's a brand, but it's also a community of businesses and our town and our families as well, so that then we as a group can start pushing forward to getting the next stage of the initiatives launched, and helping to sustain our businesses as we emerge from COVID. But we're coming out of COVID in a very positive manner, because by embracing the circular economy, I think it gives us a great opportunity to go in a very forward-thinking direction as well for the town, for the community, and for North Mayo, as Kevin had said. This is starting with Ballina, but we're looking at it as a North Mayo initiative and project. So yeah, Gurmila Mahakav, and thank you.
Well done, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Nice.
Thank you.